Abstract brainwaves, game genie in the beanie. We ain't on the same stage, leveled up.
Other yellow hat guy here, back with another video. And let's get into it. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. We're going to talk about that game today. One of my New Year's resolutions was to actually defeat Mike Tyson. That was a game that was notoriously hard. It was up there with Battletoads and, you know, arguably some of these Mega Man games in terms of difficulty on the NES that, you know, Ninja Gaiden is one of them, Ghosts and Ghouls, Ghosts and Goblins or whatever. All those games you could say, hey, these gave you a run for your money and you had to be a pro to really master them. I had memories of the Punch-Out music in my childhood, but never did I sit there and, you know, play through all of the bosses, let alone Tyson himself. Now, I did later on in life get through most of them all the way up to Super Macho Man and could not beat Tyson. Now, disclosure for all you who are purists, Mike Matei, whoever, you're like, hey, you got to beat it the way it was intended. That's not happening. I'm too old. I got bills. I got a life. No disrespect to you guys, but I just wanted to knock him down. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to win. I didn't even need to KO him. I just needed to see my hands in the air saying that I won. So I got a copy here of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. This is the original game. I'm going to give a little history before anything else and tell you about it. So while I got that going on, I got footage going on the side here, or I'll be on top of the footage telling you now about this game and what it entails. So it's Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. You can go check out Gaming Historian. He can show you a little more in depth and more polished video about the history of it. But from my vantage point, not having it as a kid, I ended up finally getting it maybe last year sometime, my own copy. Now, on the digital shop, they had the Mr. Dream version. They just called it Punch-Out, but back in the day, you knew this was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Why they changed it? Well, people believe it's because Tyson got in trouble, was sent to prison. That's a viable reason. Nintendo's family friendly. They're for the soccer moms all over the world. So having, you know, a guy with his name on the cover, you know, they probably weren't going to do, you know, another sequel or anything like that. And that's evidenced by other games that had athletes on them where that athlete may have gotten in trouble and the same thing may have happened. But from Nintendo's side of it, hey, the license expired. They didn't want to pay more for it. And it may be a double-edged sword there where, you know, on one hand, they got more money from having Tyson's name associated on it. But on the other hand, it may have been a black eye. See what I did there? Pun intended. That they also had him on there with his troubles going on. Mike, if you ever somehow see this, I'm just speaking objectively. Don't take it out on me personally. You know, you beat me up in this game already. I don't need you hitting me in real life. But hopefully today I can get the best of you. That being said, Tyson's Punch-Out, ladies and gentlemen. Tyson was in his prime, 21 years old, just knocking dudes around. He was the baddest man on the planet. Arguably still, you know, badder than a lot of people a lot younger than him in his shape now. He's primed to fight Roy Jones Jr. this year if Roy Jones Jr. doesn't back out. Tyson's calmed down, mellowed out a lot, but that animal instinct, that fighter in him, hasn't gone away, evidently. What I love about Tyson is he's just brutally honest, you know? Not just brutal with his fist, brutal with his heart. He had people come into his life that made sacrifices for him to keep him out of trouble so that he could be the best that he could be. And I relate to that. There are people who are in my life who they made sacrifices. So when people say, oh, you're so serious all the time or this or that, I'm like, I play video games for a living on the side. Like, you know, I have my day job, but I play video games for a living. I'm a silly guy, but I'm not going to let their sacrifices go in vain. My Uncle Louie, my godmother Barbara, my mom who worked 2 jobs and barely made it, getting by. You know, the parents who, you know, allow me to play with their kids, the extended day programs, the school, all of that. I could name, the list goes on. It takes a village to raise a kid. I'm a product of that. So without getting too emotional or serious for you guys, I'm just going to let you know I can see that when I hear Tyson in interviews and relate to that. That being said, the game, Nintendo, I guess, got the idea, hey, you know what would give our game more credibility is if we put this guy on here. Because we've got all these silly archetypes. You know, some of these guys' names are pretty much racist. Vodka Popinski or something like that. That's what one of the characters were called. Some of them just had racial stereotypes, which I guess in the 80s weren't as offensive as they are now. That doesn't mean they weren't offensive. So Nintendo rechanged some of the names based on the regions. You know, Vodka Popinski or whatever his name was became Soda Popinski. And that may have also been because they didn't want alcoholic beverages associated with their product in culture or in climates, you know, in regions that weren't going to approve of it. You know, Nintendo's always censored, you know, alcoholic beverages in different games. You know, Mario Kart on Super Mario Kart on Super Nintendo, prime example of that, where they removed the alcohol. Getting back to Punch-Out, man, and you can see there he's giving me the business. What people loved about this game is, you know, I don't have a controller with me right this second, but your timing had to be spectacular. And in a lot of NES games, the start button is the pause button. But in this one, no, that's your super punch. You get a good clean hit on Tyson and they reward you with a star. Lil Mac was going to wind up and bow, hit him and hopefully take enough damage off. Now, I had to watch some videos to just learn a strategy because Tyson can be very intimidating. He comes out just uppercutting you. But don't fret. That's what you actually need. You actually need him to uppercut you, okay? Not to uppercut you, but to swing, because that's the easiest way to counter. The best piece of advice I can give you early on in this video is to get used to getting beat up. That code, which is embedded in a lot of our brains, 007 373 5963, you're going to be typing that in a lot, unfortunately. And if you played it the old school way, you know, like some people who are super hardcore, oh no, you go to Tyson and then you win, or you start all the way back over. No, don't have time for that. I had got through everybody on an emulator and got to Tyson and knocked him down once. I kind of lost interest. My New Year's resolution for this year was to beat Mike Tyson. And I'm going to report to you today whether or not I did that. Of course, this is a long video, so spoilers, it probably happens. But man, was it rewarding. Now, I've been going through some stuff. This year on its own was like Mike Tyson was fighting you. I liken it to a Madden curse. Now, I should also point out, you're like, where's the sound? You're hearing me because when I recorded this on Twitch, for whatever reason, the sound was echoing and it just evidently didn't record at all. So I figured I wanted to talk about things rather than just lose this footage or throw it away because it's just showing what's happening and you're not hearing my actual emotions. You can see here homeboy is blinking a couple times, and yes, using a Raspberry Pi, I am abusing save states. I had to. This was the only way that was going to get done. Now, on these newer TVs, the lag is terrible. On the CRT, it's going to be more pure with a smaller NES controller with the B and A buttons right there, which is really what I was trying to talk about. It's going to be a lot easier for you to get the practice down. I said you're going to be using that code a lot. You will, and I was rusty, so, you know, you got to crawl before you walk. I got beat down, well, for 47-something minutes before the end result that I was okay with showed up. There are a couple times, and you'll see in here, where you'll learn that simply knocking him down, even though he knocks you down, is not enough. The house favors the champ. So even if he knocks you down early and then you come back and knock him down, and then the last round you've got more health than him, doesn't mean squat. Doesn't mean squat. Happened to me probably several times, and using these save states, there were times where I accidentally saved and got punched and had to either move out the way quickly while being punched, or in the actual frame of which I was hit, it was too late and I had to eat that. I had to eat it and just start over. And believe you me, when I got to the third round, the last one, I was like, is this like a traditional fight? Maybe they only go 6 rounds. I don't know. Most people, you know, I knock them out 2 rounds. Again, it had been ages since I played Punch-Out, so I could not remember that 3 rounds was the max for these games, but each round with Tyson is going to be different. That's the point I'm trying to make here. I'm not sure how long I can ramble to talk about it while all this footage is going on, but I figured I'd try because it was monumental for me. It was a monumental experience to say, hey, I may never beat Ninja Gaiden. I may never beat Battletoads without, help. And Battletoads is one of those games where it's a disservice to have somebody playing with you. Maybe a Game Genie or something, I don't know. But hey, I beat Gil in Street Fighter 3. I beat Earthbound. I beat Final Fantasy 6. I beat, there's a lot of games that all 3 Donkey Kong countries. A lot of those games that they were on my backlog for a while, they are very legendary games, and I wanted them off the checklist. The older you get, and this is just my opinion, a lot of you may share it, you realize when you were younger, you had plenty of time to play video games. The crappiest game, you had time for to master it, because you knew you had to return it to Blockbuster, or you were stuck with this thing if somebody bought it for you. A loved one bought it for you for Christmas or birthday. You were like me, and you only got games a couple times a year. You know the story. So the older you get, you got money to buy the games you want, and you get these games on sale, on clearance, yard sales, because you have a car and you can travel, and these days you have the internet to get access to these games when they're at the price that's affordable for you. But you don't got the time because you prioritize your children, your job, your girlfriend, wife, husband, whatever, your other hobbies. And video games aren't at the top of the list because your attention span is not there for them. But the nostalgia may still be there. That's still in me, and that's why we're doing Punch-Out today. Part of me felt like, hey, I might need the Power Glove. I left the Power Glove upstairs, so hey, it's not going to be in this video. I'm not going to go upstairs to get it to show you. But I thought, hey, maybe I could try the Power Glove out and knock him out. So you see here, by decision, the winner is the defender. Give up, retire, game over. So here I am struggling to put the code in because you can't hit down. It's left or right. Don't hit down. You hit down, it just erases everything and you're starting back over. But it did freeze up a little bit. I could hear it in the audio. So here I am struggling to load back, and then I had to put the code in again ad nauseum, putting that code in. But Tyson, the caricature of him was kind of crazy. You look at how they did the boxer who's an homage to him in The Simpsons. He kind of looks like that. I can't remember the guy's name, but Duderick Tatum or something. I can't remember. But yeah, he looks like the straight Punch-Out sprite. And Capcom, they didn't want to pay Tyson, so they made, M. Bison. Fun fact, M. Bison is supposed to be Mike Bison, as he's known in Japan, but the rest of the world he's M. Bison to avoid legal disputes. And M. Bison for the rest of the world outside the U.S. is known as Vega. Vega for the rest of the world, or for Japan and certain other parts of the world, is known as Balrog. So they did it. And all those names make more sense. Vega sounds more like a dictator, though it could be Spanish. But M. Bison, like Major Bison, no. More believable is Mike Bison, because you didn't, that's the fighter, and you didn't want to pay him. You don't want to just put him. That's how incredible Mike Tyson was. And you think of fighting games, you've got some kind of boxer in there. Mike Tyson was the guy. So he comes out swinging, and one of those uppercuts just knocks you completely out. Like, I want to talk more strategy. I wanted to get the backstory out first. My history with the game and what it meant for me and why I was doing this. But here we go. Let's actually just start talking about that right now. So a lot of people didn't know that you can win by not just a KO or TKO. You can also win by decision. And you can do that, but you've got to have a lot of points. And you'll see what I'm talking about by the end of the video. Here he is knocking the crap out of me. Now, round one, he's going to come out with those uppercuts, and if you can survive those you can do a lot of damage to him. You see, I'm just reloading the states because you can't just dodge. It's not enough to hold the button. You've got to tap that thing because you want to come, when he swings, you want to lightly tap so that you come back in and can counterpunch. To counterpunch, you have to press up and then the button. So the B button is going to be your left punch, and the A button is going to be your right punch. So how I believe it to go is whatever hand he swings with. For example, if he were to lead out with his left, you want to counter with the right. So if he comes out with the left, you know, you're hitting the A button. If he's coming out with the right, you're hitting the B button. And no, it's easier to say all that than to actually do it, because when you're in the heat of the moment, you just want to swing and hit the guy. I mean, he's 31-0, as you see here, in the midst of round 1. Somewhere like a minute 30, he's going to change it up on you and start doing these little jabs. And those are the worst because when you're fighting Tyson, and I'm regurgitating what I learned in these videos, so if you're watching this, you know, I'm giving you history, my experience, and some strategy here. While you can quick dodge those uppercuts, it doesn't work on the jabs. You have to anticipate what's happening. That's the key here. You can't just go out and attack him like you can do some of these other guys. Some of these other guys, you can just punch them and get them to fall back and, you know, do some dodges and recover. No, all of your punches matter against Tyson, because when you run out, you're ducking and dodging, and I didn't even know you could duck, honestly. I thought you were just dodging the whole way. Yes, you can press down, but pressing down does not stop you from being knocked out from an uppercut. Now, if he's just jabbing, it'll help you. Early on with those jabs, why I say they were hard for me, because I'm thinking you've got to, you know, dodge. But by the time you come back, if you didn't anticipate correctly, you're not going to get a punch off. He's going to block it. If you dodge like you're dodging the uppercut, by the time you come back, even if it's quick, it's just a quick jab. So he's already ready to block. So here's what you do. If he's jabbing, you have two options. If you're more experienced, you could probably predict when he's going to jab and dodge beforehand. So by the time you come back, he doesn't hit you even though his fist is extended, and you can counterpunch. It's dangerous, but it's doable, because if you're watching this footage this whole time in the background listening to me, you'll see that I've done that even mistakenly sometimes. But what they want you to do is to actually duck and maybe block it and then quickly come back. Now, second round, let's finish the first round first. First round, he's going to do that midway through. You know, these are quick 3-minute rounds, but they can feel like eternity if you aren't prepared for what's happening. So if you can make it 3 rounds 1 or 2 times and get your bearings and know what to expect, you're a lot better off than just thinking that you have to just, you know, counter, because that's not how it's going to work. Some of this stuff is not worth countering. So here we are, round 2. I actually knocked him down right there, if you just saw that, and I'm reloading because it's important to me not to let him knock me down. Why is that important? Let's actually get into that right now. So that first round, if you want to KO Tyson, you want to knock him down at least once, okay? If you don't knock him down at least once, you just need to start over, because that's your best opportunity while he's doing those uppercuts to counter and get most of the life off. So if you follow that pattern I said, left to right, that countering, you're going to take off more damage than you would just pressing any button. It may not matter in the long run just to win, but to get it done fast, that's what you want to have happen. Why? Because while you can press the select button repeatedly during the, you know, in between rounds and regain your health, Mike is not. And what Mike does in this second round, well, let's just watch this third round real quick, and then we'll talk more about the second round. So, you know, he switches his styles up, is what I'm getting ready to tell you, okay? And you've got limited punches, and what you're trying to do here, I'm obviously not going to win right here. Well, maybe that's a spoiler, but you're still here watching, right? Right? You should be. You need to keep watching. At least let it run in the background if you're not going to watch the whole thing. Help your boy out. Monetization. Help your boy out with watch time. Okay. So here it is here. Now, I'm reloading these states a lot because it's important that when I land these punches, even with 5 left, that they're hitting. He's not blocking them. I've got to connect because it only takes Mike, 2 or 3 punches to end you. That's it. So you've got to be on your P's and Q's. You've got to be on your toes. And it's going to take you like a full, I don't know, minute and a half to build him down if you were doing it the way I was doing it. But you see, I've got more life than him, and it's important to me to keep that. Because halfway through the rounds, every round, he's going to switch it up some. See, here he is blinking. I didn't get him. I didn't hit him. I had to anticipate him blinking. And fortunate with save states, he's going to do that, but he doesn't always go back into the blinking mode, depending on what you're doing. If you're already in a dodge, don't expect him to blink. But if you're sitting there waiting, he might blink for you. And if you're quick enough, you can go ahead and knock him down. It's possible to just KO him if you get a very clean hit in, I think, right before he tries to blink. You can get that in. But the worst thing you can do is lose your rhythm, lose your timing to where he doesn't get you. So see here, I lost my rhythm, I lost my timing, and he knocked me down. So at this point, he's probably knocked me down twice. There's no way I'm winning. There's no way. But what I had to learn at some point, so I got a star for knocking him, but you can't use the star. You can't always use a star because when he switches it up and he comes out with those jabs, they're very lethal. And even when he hits you, because you're trying to be conservative, it's going to take away your star. So the best thing to do here is not to do what I'm doing where you try to dodge. You need to duck. You really need to duck when he comes out with those jabs. And I was trying to dodge the whole time for nothing. So I apologize again. It's glitching up here. But we're a little close to halfway through with all this that's happening there. So what I was aiming for was to keep most of my health and to get most of his down so that I could at least have a fighting chance. Because while I'm doing all this, I was not cognizant of, hey, you're getting close to 3 minutes. So this is not going to be in your favor. When you want to be on the up and up with like 2 minutes and something into the round. When it gets close to 2:20, you should just be blocking and getting the little things that he gives you. You got to work with what Mike gives you. That's the real takeaway here. Work with what he gives you. If he's giving you uppercuts, learn to relax and chill out and counterpunch. If he's jabbing, do those 2 things that I told you, anticipate the jab and or duck and wait for that to cease. But if you waste all your punches, it's not going to matter. So you need to make them all count. Save them because you recover punches when you dodge, right? We all know this. If you didn't know because you're never made it to Tyson or you're trying, you see the code here and you want to try it, I'm sure if I can do it, you watching can definitely do this. I'm using an emulator. I'm abusing save states to do it. It may not be pretty, but I just wanted myself to know that I did it. And if I were to keep practicing, I could probably do it without this, without the emulator. You got to remember, there's a severe lag. Using the emulator is never 100%. And on top of that, I wasn't using a true NES controller, and it wasn't on a CRT TV. So I had all 3 of those things against me, plus not really having experience playing Punch-Out as a 4th. But I made it happen. I had some stuff I was going through, and what I'm trying to do, so if you're seeing a lot of content from me lately, at least during this stretch, it's me refocusing that energy, that sadness into Mike. Normally, I had some buddies over earlier in the summer, because summertime is when I really wanted to make like a review and like an AVGN style, Angry Video Game Nerd style review of the game. It just didn't come around. I got too busy working on things around the house and what have you in my personal life. And we played a little bit of it, and I watched them play, and I was like, you know what? I'm in a good mood. This is going to make me mad. But guess what, gang? I was in a foul mood. you know, a sad mood, not really an angry mood or whatever. Maybe so. So if anything, this could only pick me up. A negative times a negative is what? A positive. A positive times a negative is what? A negative. There, see, you learn some math in addition to time studying and efficiency and all that stuff you're supposed to learn in school. You're getting a crash course right here. This is Mike Tyson's Punch-Out 101, at least the Tyson fight portion of it, okay? So, again, the graphics are glitching up because of how it's, you know, it's captured on the capture card, but the gist of it is you need to not take severe amounts of damage from it. You need to conserve your punches. I cannot say that enough. I'll probably keep saying it because, you know, there's still another 20 or so minutes here, so feel free to skip. But if you're still here for the strategy, when he starts doing those jabs, he does maybe like 3 or 4 of those in a row. Look up a game guide to know how many it is. It's different per round. But when he does that, you need to be ducking. But I think it's the second round where he starts coming out with those, and then he tries to fool you. He wants you to get used to the jab and make you feel safe that the uppercuts are done. They're not. Eventually, he's going to come back in. Here he is. You think your speed of your fingers can match the strength of my fist? And it's just cool because they even gave him the gap and everything, the part in his hair. You know, that's so 80s and 90s right there. But I digress. And this is round 2 here. Let's follow along to see what I'm talking about. So he came out with just that little jab to check you, right? But he hasn't gone crazy with it yet. So he's done 3 or 4 of them, and then he's going to start doing the uppercut. That's what I wanted to tell you. He starts doing the uppercut. You got to be aware of that. So he's going to do a couple of those and mix it up. And you've got to be anticipating the uppercut if you're not good at defending the jab. If you're not good at countering the jab, you need to be ready for the uppercut. It's to your best interest to be able to also duck from the jab and then counter, because you don't really have time to waste. Here we are a minute into it. When it gets like a minute 33, he's going to go crazy on you. He's going to go Psycho Mike. Okay? Let's watch and see what happens if we can make to that. First time in the video, I'm going to intentionally try to be quiet to show you. You see I made a mistake here. This is going to cost me. I used my last punch on the blink, and I am not prepared to actually duck. Okay? I'm not prepared to do anything here. I'm still on the mind frame of what I told you, which was, you know, trying to dodge all those, and you don't need to do that. You can dodge the uppercuts as long as it's quick. If you do it too long, obviously you're going to come back in and he's going to be on to his next punch and knock you down, if not knock you out. So, you know, he's a monster here. He is a monster. So boom, I got a nice star punch in on him, and I made the mistake of loading it. I don't know if I saved that or not, but yeah, maybe I did, but I couldn't have him knock me down, so I'm kind of stuck there with him knocking me down and having to get up. But all I wanted was, if I did get knocked down, to trade with him. But you really can't trade with Tyson. That's not the strategy to win. It's not. So somehow I got him knocked down and then I saved it there. So I think we're tied. Now notice my points here at 2,100. And you don't really get that many points if you're doing it the right way. You might get more points if you do it better, I'm not sure. But we'll see more of that as this video goes along. So it was cute as they have Mario in here as the ref, you know. It couldn't be anybody else. I've got a video that finished pretty quickly. That's what you heard in the background. That's cool. But Tyson here just gets back up swinging, you know, and there's just only a few seconds left, and you just can't afford to get knocked down here. I wasted a punch there, but I got a couple in there. So I'm at the mercy of dodging. I wasted that punch, and boom, he got me. Is this kid a joke? Where's the real challenger is what Tyson is saying. So here's the final round. One more again. You start out with these 8 punches. I wish there was a code where, and there probably is some kind of Game Genie code or something where you can start out with like 100 punches or something ridiculous, like 50 punches, something crazy like that. And if I had that, the match would be more manageable, especially with save states. You know, you're just like, hey, forget strategy now, or forget punch management, which is, you know, forget the efficiency there. You just need to avoid getting knocked down. As long as you do that, you know, you can just boom, 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 and catch him slipping at some point. Because what I'm trying to point out is when he goes Psycho Mike, all you can do is duck. You can't dodge. The timing's just not going to be there for you. And that's what I struggled with in this video. I struggled with that for a long time. Now, what you're seeing is some footage that I put up on Twitch. And once again, that's why the sound's not there, because I made a mistake somehow thinking it was recording my audio as well, but it didn't, sadly. But no problem. I'm still proud of this footage for the rest of my life existing, showing that I beat Mike Tyson. That being said, yes, you've already got that I beat Mike Tyson, right? What I'm telling you is it's there as an archive. It's a memory. Not many people can say that they beat Mike Tyson, right? That's what the bragging rights are for. But here in the third round with just a few seconds left, I'm thinking, hey, I just gotta ride this out. Missed a punch there, boom, but he got me. Hey, I just need a little bit more help than him. The round ends, and the winner was Tyson. So here I am in vain, trying it again with a couple seconds left because I made the mistake of saving. And there's nothing you can do about that. Nothing. So I'm probably sitting here mad, frustrated, and trying to rewind it back, but you know, it makes no difference. If you're going to abuse a save state, you need to make sure that you've got more knockdowns than him. Otherwise, it's just not going to matter in the end. So here I am, painfully starting it over again. Yes, this was painful to do, but it had to be done because what was I going to do, just give up? No, I was mad enough with my own problems to say, no, I can't take it out on whoever, but I can take it out on Iron Mike. You know, Roy Jones Jr. is trying to fight him this year. They agreed for like an exhibition match. I'm like, man, my plan was to fight him way earlier than that. I gotta take him on before Roy Jones Jr. does. So I was also thinking about that, but you've got to be cognizant of when he's gonna go crazy in that second round and stay afloat, because he's wanting revenge. They've given it to you easy that first round. So that first round, like I've been saying, you had to have knocked him down once and maybe even twice. But what you want to do, the trick is to leave him with a little bit of health at the end of the first round. Why? Because when he turns Psycho Mike, you're likely going to get knocked down. You likely are. That's just unfortunate truth. But it's okay though. It doesn't mean it's over. Few people can beat him without being knocked down. Pretty much if you don't get knocked down, you're probably good enough to just KO him in the first or second round. It is possible to KO him in the first round. There's a video out there somewhere that somebody was sharing me, because people love to one-up you. You're proud, like, hey, I beat Mike Tyson, and you're in these chats, these social websites and whatever, and somebody's like, oh, you're late to the party. I did this when I was 17. Of course I had no life though. You know, but a lot of people that I was sharing this information with, they were like, hey, I couldn't believe that Tyson can be beat the way in which I beat him. So if you're still watching and still wondering, stay tuned, because I obviously beat him. But how I beat him is something that most people haven't done or can't do, because it takes a lot of patience, and really it was only possible for me with using this emulator. Doesn't mean I use some kind of code. Only the code I used was the password to get there, but no Game Genie, no speed assisted tool, nothing like that. This was just straight grit, just straight frustration, just straight F-bombs in my head. I somehow managed to not curse on the Twitch stream. And say that. So shout out to those of you who saw the stream when it was up. I apologize if it didn't come out like it needed to. This is the saved video from said stream, and I can see that it was buggy. I could hear it in my headphones that it was buggy. Why it didn't record any sound. It happens sometimes, but it's better to have got the video and the sound than to have the sound and no video or nothing at all, right? I did take a personal screenshot for myself, personal video, so you'll at least be able to hear that at the end of this to see what it is that was going on. But I'm reloading here so that I can stay up and ahead of him. You know, there's a few seconds left. I don't think I knock him down here at all in this first round, and again, that's pivotal because even though I'm up in health, that honestly doesn't count for anything. And all of this time, I thought it did. So this is me, hindsight, showing you, if I knock you down, don't get up is what he tells me. Okay. So here in round 2, he still has a little bit of health. I don't think I got much back. Maybe I wasn't pressing the select button fast enough, but did not earn a lot of health back. And only having 8 punches, it's like, well, when does Mike get tired? When he blinks, he does flash and he winks at you. Cool thing I neglected to mention, which is great that I did, so I can tell you now. Depending on what arm he punches with, he's gonna wink with that arm. No, that's not me blinking because my eyes are dry. That is something that happens in a lot of these videos, and I only recognize it for watching the videos. No, I'm blinking to show you when he's actually doing all that, when he's trying to let you know which arm he's gonna lead with. And you need to be aware of that so you know which side to dodge if you're going to try that, and or duck. If you're ducking, obviously it doesn't matter because you're blocking him anyway. But when he winks, that's when you need to quickly tap to dodge. I'm usually always tapping left. You've never seen me in this tap right, and maybe I should because that would help me get better punches in. I believe that might be the strategy there. I'm always dodging to the left. But yeah, what you've got to do there is once he winks, go ahead and tap, because by the time he comes back, he's pulling his fist back, but not all the way to cover. He's pulling his fist back, and you can quickly press up and then a punch button to strike it. Without countering him with the jab, this was impossible. What I didn't say was I actually recorded some of this earlier, so there were like 2 or 3 streams prior where I was trying and just really didn't have the rhythm down, and I was frustrated to where I was like, you know what? Until I can see the promised land, I don't need to be recording any of this. Who would want to watch that? Heck, you might even not be wanting to watch this, but if you are, thank you for doing that. If you're looking at the time bar, only a few more minutes left, so you only have to listen to me ramble, a few more minutes left. But hopefully so far you've got some kind of strategy and you've been inspired to take him on with what you see here. So here at minute and 30 seconds, around that time, 33, 35, something like that, he starts jabbing. And you can see I finally was able to figure out, oh, you can, when he jabs, come back in and get him. And I had to reload states because it wasn't enough to waste a punch on him when he is blocking. Somehow I dodged and got the extra 3 punches, or extra 2 punches. I needed to use those. Though I could not go the rest of this round and not knock him out. So here we are. I saved there, reloading here. He's getting me with these punches because I'm dodging too early. You got to dodge when he winks. See how I caught him there? I caught him when he winked. I know it's a buggy mess, but it's easier to recognize it when you're watching somebody else play. Once he winks is when you need to tap, not when he throws his fist. I was, for the life of me, probably doing it when he threw his fist and got lucky, which is why when he did not hit me and I was countering him, it matches up with the time. So there, I got a knockdown in round 1. That's crucial. He gets most of his health back, and what you want to do here, if you can't knock him down a second time or get him close, get as much as you can, because in the second round, he's probably going to knock you down, but if by the end of the second round you've knocked him down a second time, this is just you just staying ahead. You can try to trade punches with him, if you will, which is not really a good idea. What I mean is not trade punches with him. Try to avoid his punches and not try to knock him down. That's a better way of saying it. That's really what you want to do here. So I'm not sure if this was the one or I started over. There's a lot of reloading save states here, but this one looks pretty good. Second round, he blinks, boom. I got a punch in, I got the star, couldn't use it. But here I am struggling to duck and getting punched in the face a lot. My face probably looks like hamburger meat if I'm Little Mac, but he KO'd me there. So maybe I accidentally saved. You know what happened here? The batteries in my controller died. That's what happened there. I remember that now. That was very frustrating. It was funny in the Twitch stream, but not for me personally. I had to run downstairs and grab some batteries because I was like, no, I'm not losing like this. This is the one. I got some rechargeable batteries that were dying. I charged them up, but in the meantime, I got some other batteries. So here it is right there. I knocked him down and I saved that. And this is for all the marbles now. Because now I got to survive. I haven't been knocked down. You know, I reloaded the states, right? I had not been knocked down within the continuity of the save states. So I know that in this round, he's going to try for it with that relentless set of jabs that he comes in with. So I got a star there, but it was for nothing because here I am having to duck. So if I could just get through this round without getting knocked down, that's going to be pivotal for me. And I just kept reloading states because we've got similar health before the knockdown. So, or similar health before the round ends. There we go. See, now he's up a little bit. This is where you're pressing start or select, as fast as you can. I read somewhere that if you press start, like while you don't have a star, it reduces your health. And I think I accidentally did that and saw that. You probably saw it somewhere in this footage earlier, because I think right here I'm actually going to beat him. I think this is the one. You know, there's a few minutes left on this. This has to be the one. This is a painful round, but I'm pretty sure I had to have gotten him here. I could be wrong and there could be a restart, but I'm doing pretty well right now, all things considered. So he's coming in with those punches, but I can't let him have that because I believe we had the same amount of health after that second round. And here we go. Here it is. This is it for everything. He's been knocked down twice already. We're 42 seconds into it. I'm not going to let him KO me. I think the batteries were failing again. I think what happened is that first time I was able to just pop him out and put him back in quickly. But this time I actually went downstairs. That's what happened there. See, it's showing you the credits and everything. You'd think that I rage quit and threw the controller halfway across the room. No, that actually didn't happen. We're not fighting Bald Bull or any of that stuff. Though, after fighting Tyson, I would love to see how good my mechanics are. But to be honest with you, fighting these guys is nothing like fighting Tyson. So even if you fought Tyson first and you're going after these guys, everybody has their own strategy. It's just, you can see here, 98 punches versus like the 16 or 8 or whatever you start with Tyson. So they're trying to tell you something, like, do not be the antagonist. And this is just the demo. This is not me playing this at all. Evidently, I finally got the batteries and got them in here, and we're going to reload that state because I was so scared that I was going to accidentally mash down the button I have mapped to save and not load. So what we're doing here is we're going to go down to load. Yep, and that's what we did. So we're still good on. We had to get our bearings back because what happens is when you play a lot of video games, it's like anything else. Your fingers, you get that dexterity for a little bit, and the muscle memory is going on, and then you stop for a second. You've got to get back into that grind. Your hand-eye coordination has to be on point for Tyson. So one of the things that I like about this is, hey, you're getting older. and you want to keep your cognitive sensibilities going, play some Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. You might suffer from a mini stroke or heart attack also playing, but you know, maybe do it when you're in a bad mood like I was. Maybe do it when you've got nothing to lose, to where you're like, hey, I'll walk up to the baddest man on the planet and hope that he knocks me out so I don't have to wake up anymore. If you're that low, hey, do this instead of other things that would be detrimental to your health or detrimental to your spirit or existence or what have you. So without getting controversial, you see here he comes in, man. He's just Mad Mike. Round 3, he's coming back with those jabs. He's coming back with a series of them. I've got just 2 punches. I cannot afford to waste any of them or get hit. But there I used one. I reload again because I've learned from the decisions that went in his favor that that's not going to work for me. So here, 2 minutes in, he starts uppercutting again. That's your saving grace. He starts coming out with a couple of jabs and mixes it up with the uppercuts. That's what he does about 1:30 something in round 3, I think, but it might even be later than that. He switches up his patterns each half of the round, and I'm not sure. I can't remember if in the 3rd round he did that more than one time. But you're looking at the footage like I am. He's got a sliver of health. I knocked him down, and yeah, this is the one. 3 minutes left. That was the one. He got up. Son of a gun got up, and I'm pretty sure that's 3 times. I knocked him down once in the 1st round, once in the 2nd round, and that's the 3rd round. Winner by decision is Mac. Your boy did it. I did that. And what it was just that little bit of health I had left. Focus on saving that. Coast it out. Ride it out. Do not let him knock you down to help you. Now, one thing I want to point out as the credits roll is, you're like, I didn't know you could win by decision. Yes, you could. But you can only win by decision if you had a certain number of points. Now, those points came from, I guess, the amount of counters that I made. You saw early on in the footage where in the beginning I had like 100 points, 200 points. Most people don't get that many points. They don't. Because it's either you or him. He's knocking you down or you're knocking him out. One of the two. TKO. See, I lost twice with, what was saved there and kept going. But yeah, that's it. My stream ended. But here's what it is. And what I'll probably do is put the sound footage, or maybe not, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But because this wasn't really scripted, it's just me just in the heat of the moment telling you how to take him on. It was a grueling experience. I just barely beat him though. Just barely. I had 5,000 points. Or you need 5,000 points to get a decision. I had 5,010. That's it. It's 10 more points. I wasn't even aware of that. Now, he got me by decision all the other times, even though I had more health than him, but it didn't matter. You got to have 5,000 points. So I'm not sitting there telling you to add up the math. We've already talked math in this video. But yeah, you've got to be cognizant of that because you will lose. But my suggestion is, hey, if you knock him down at least 3 times, that should be good enough for the TKO. Son of a gun got up. He got up with, the 8 count. So 2 more counts. I would have loved to have TKO'd him, but I'll take it any way I can get it. Maybe I revisit this game, years from now or whatever, and somehow, that's the end of the video there. But somehow TKO him, but who knows? That said, I appreciate you guys. If you made it this far, I'd be remiss in not telling you to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for supporting me over the years. If you've been watching the Mario Maker, I teased fighting Tyson. Maybe even a year ago, I teased that one day this would happen. And life is short. You got to make the most of it. You never know if you'd even be around to do the stuff that you want to do. So that was motivation for me. It should be for you too. Maybe Mike Tyson's Punch-Out isn't your crown jewel of games to complete. Maybe yours is one of those other games I named or something else. No time like the present. in this pandemic that we're in. You've got plenty of time. I know it's depressing and you may not want to do stuff. For me personally, if I'm at home all the time, it makes me not really appreciate being home because I take it for granted. But if I'm out doing stuff or at work regularly, I can't wait to get home and do all these things that I think about. And what happens, you try to do them, you try to watch shows, you try to be productive, but then you got to go to bed, rest up, and do it all over again. So take advantage of the situation while you have it. That's my advice to you. The year's not over yet. I know we're all looking forward to next year, but this one ain't over yet. Enjoy the time. It's not promised. So, do what Mike said. Look life in the face like it's Lennox Lewis and tell them you're going to eat their children. That's really the best way I can end this. See you guys in the next one. Captain Sensation! Yes! Finally! Finally beat him. Did it before Roy Jones could, too. Woo! 20 plus years to beat this guy. Y'all just don't even know. 3, 2, 1, and go.
Gail Simone, can I be your yellow hat guy? Please, Gail Simone, I'll be your yellow hat guy. I wanna be your yellow hat guy. Wanna be your yellow hat guy. Show up at your cons and give you crap, man. On the Bendis boards, I am the captain. We can talk all day about your cat, man. All the things you do at DC. Gonna be your yellow hat guy. I wanna be your yellow hat guy. Please, Gail Simone, I'll be your yellow hat guy. I wanna be, let me be your yellow hat guy. Yellow hat guy. Yellow hat guy. Yellow